Hola, muy buenos dias. Hola, 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 continuous liners. This is Megan Burns coming to you live from the streets of Mexico, La Ciudad de Mexico. I'm in Condesa. I'm in an area that I don't usually come to because you know why? It's behind me, and I usually go in front of me towards the parque. But today I thought I'd go behind me, do a little exploring. The Chapultepec Park is not far from here. Let me put my hair down. So I'm at this very cute cafe. No surprise there, right? And there's several. This is Cucuruchu, and there's several of these, except this is the only one that has a little space, right? So the others are very crowded. And look at this beautiful coffee. Cucuruchu, cuckoo. Here, wait, I want you to get the full deal. It's very well. It's been sitting for a moment, so. First sip of coffee. Out on a little bike ride. I think it's Friday morning, and prepared for my fundamentals class. Starts in a little bit, but so I like to do bike ride before that. And it's been super hot here. It's been super hot everywhere in Mexico, but and not as hot here in Mexico City, but it's still hot. So you got to get all your stuff done in the morning. So what that means is I'm doing my continuous line drawing warm-ups right now. And if you're with me, get your Bic pen and just some copy paper, right? I put mine in a book just so I have it in one easy place. Get to a fresh sheet of paper here. And let's start doing some lines. But remember, you can pause for coffee. Or whatever it is you need to drink, or you have to pet a dog, or whatever it is. I kind of want to give you a view of the street. It's oh so pretty, right? Here in Condesa. All right, let's get to it. So I had an interesting thing happen last night. Let me put this down a little bit just so you can see what's going on. I was at an art event, and an American man tried to make fun of me for drawing and teaching people how to draw. He made like this whole gesture like, "Oh, this is so difficult, isn't it?" And I was like, the sheer audacity that you would just be that arrogant. I was like, it was so American of him, right? Actually, I think he's probably been watching a little too much Larry David. But he didn't have the humor, without the humor, right? So, anyways, it's not the end of the world. It just kind of struck me as like, what an odd thing to say to somebody, right? But that is sort of the way people see art, right? They see, I'm sure plenty of us grew up with parents or teachers or somebody who was like, "Oh, isn't that cute? You like to draw. You can draw." Well, I mean, as a kid, we can all get away with it, right? Because you're supposed to draw as a kid. That's when you're supposed to draw, right? But it's as you get older, as you continue to draw, it's like, that's cute, but what are you going to do for a living, right? Isn't that adorable? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had people say to me, "Oh, you do all those cute little drawings, right?" I do. I worked very hard at my cute little drawings. And this person works, he's an American, and he works in IT, and he's just that whole mentality. God, I remember it well. I worked corporate for years, and it messes with you, right? It messes with you, but it seems like it's just part of the thing we have to do, right? You got to put in your time. You got to pay the man. You got to figure things out until you can break free, right? Because we're all sort of part of that machine that we have to get fed through. Like, you got to be part of that American rat race. I mean, I don't want to just assume everyone's from America, but the rat race is alive and well here in Mexico, and they get paid very little for it. Sometimes the trade-off in America is people can get very high salaries for giving their entire life to a company, right? It's not so much the case here in Mexico, which is why there's bad feelings, right? When Americans come here to work remotely and make all this money, and then they're here for the best deals, right? So, I mean, I get that, you know. Oh, what are you here for? I know what you're here for. You're here for the low cost of living, right? I mean, the low cost of living is a slippery slope because that's changing everywhere, right? So I'm not so incensed by this person's lack of depth, but it is quite a reflection on just the world, right? Like here he is, an unemployed IT person who just, you know, has nothing interesting to say. He doesn't do anything. He goes to yoga. I'm going to leave him alone, but it's like, how uninteresting, right? And yet you have the audacity to make fun of someone who's like, I mean, he doesn't know me, but you know, someone, I feel like this is like the work that changes people's lives, right? Like when people start drawing and they start expressing themselves through drawing, it changes lives, right? I mean, I know the right job can change lives too, and money can change your life, and love can change your life. I get it. I'm not so one-dimensional that I think art. I mean, I do think art saves, but, you know, I know there's more to life, right? But what I am here for is the humanity of drawing, the humanity, how I can connect with people. I feel like the people in my Zoom classes, like it's, yeah, we're all artists drawing and stuff like that, but it's a connection with humanity, learning how to draw, spending our time drawing, spending our time observing things, observing, training ourselves. You know, it's a meditation, right? And a lot of people just think of it as child's play, right? And so I'm really, really, really honored and delighted that the people who show up not only in the continuous sign storytelling and share their art, but the folks who are really going deep in the Zoom fundamentals, continuous sign fundamentals. Because yes, we're practicing our drawing, and we're learning how to see, and we're learning how to color with more than just crayons, right? And so it's an exchange of humanity and like how to be in the world and how to be at ease in the world, right? Yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, that was a lousy drawing and it makes me feel bad. That happens, right? Get away from me, fly. I have to pause for my beautiful latte here. That first sip of coffee, it's the best, isn't it? So, you know, that person's comment last night just had me reflecting on, like, I mean, probably 10 years ago, I might have made fun of me too. Maybe that's why it riled me, because it kind of struck a chord. Like, I had that same mentality, like, oh, because my mom would be like that. My mom would be like, oh, isn't that sweet? You have time to draw. You have time to, not draw, but you have time to, like, make art. You've done all your chores, and now you can make art. How lucky you are, right? There's always that sort of mentality that I grew up with, that, you know, like with my mom. It's like art is something you do after all your chores are done, right? After you milk the cows and sweep the barn and and wait on the man, right? Then maybe you can go, no, yeah, gracias. So this person's comment last night struck me, because first of all, I rarely get comments, right? And so for him to say something like, he was making fun of me for drawing, right? And I was just like, I should have said, well, whatever. I'm glad I thought of what I did say, right? Like I really did kind of clamp back, because, you know, he was kind of getting on my nerves anyways, because he's just one of these types, you know, he just does yoga. And then he's making fun of me for drawing and teaching people how to draw, right? Whatever. Okay, so it got my goat, but in a good way, because it got me to get a little clearer on, like, what is it that I'm doing? What am I doing? Well, I really am. Yes, I'm learning how to draw every single day, and I'm encouraging others to draw, and I'm building the community that way, right? Because it really is a great way to get through life, to go through life, is being an artist. No, lo siento. There's the humanity. I'm sorry I can't listen to you right now because I'm drawing and I'm live on camera. I mean, but in all honesty, this kind of stuff happens a lot, and you can't always like accommodate the wishes, right? So, see, someone just gave them something to eat. So there we go. my guilt has been relieved momentarily. So, yeah, it's getting kind of busy here. Things are picking up here. But that's all right. That's the beauty of like the challenge of drawing in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of like, I got people swirling around me looking for tables, guys asking for money. A gal over here is watering plants. People are walking by, right? So this is my challenge of why I like to do art, because it's my reverse meditation, right? Like, how can I detach from the chaos of what I'm sitting? And it's not like extreme chaos. It's just got a little thick there for a moment, right? So how do I keep my wits about me to not only to continue to draw, because I can see the people are going by and I can see they're looking like, what is she doing? And honestly, they don't care, because really nobody cares, right? I say that a lot. Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares that I'm sitting here. They're probably very much in need of a coffee and are looking for an available table. And they're like, what is she doing there wasting time so I can't sit there and have a coffee, right? They're not like, oh, I'm really wondering what she's doing. What is she doing with all those lines, right? Well, I know what I'm doing with all those lines. So the challenge for me is to like, this is what Mexico City has been so great for me for, is like an opportunity just to like really, really go within, to be sovereign, to be a sovereign to my mind, sovereign to my practice, sovereign to my health. You know, there's a lot of, every 10 feet there's delicious street tacos. Well, that's not really a great way to eat, right? I mean, it's a fun way to eat, but like sovereign to my health. I have to do things to take care of my health. I'm doing I always want to call her green goddess, the glucose goddess, right? So I start my day with Brussels sprouts. Oh my God, if you had told me as a child that I would be starting my day with Brussels sprouts, I would have opted out a long time ago. But now I actually kind of like it. It feels good to start my day with those big cups of water and Brussels sprouts and apple cider vinegar. That's a hard one, because that's disgusting. And then I get on a bike ride. And I go on a bike ride around the city. And then I try to find a quiet cafe to do a broadcast, right? So it's all part of my routine to kind of keep myself sane, healthy, in good health, right? That's relative. That's a ebb and flow thing. And I'm trying to build a career based on something I love. That's tricky, right? Because when you start to take something you love and try to monetize it and turn it into your job, there's the risk of like, then it becomes a job, and then it's hard, right? Like, I have to draw again today. Whew, it's getting hot. I'm breaking out in a sweat. I think it's the coffee. Oh. Dogs going by here. I have not reached that point where the drawing is a chore, right? I still love drawing. I'm still motivated by it. I'm still inspired by it. And especially because I'm building a community around it. And with a community, and when you get to see what other people are doing with their drawings, I mean, I love it. I think it's super inspiring, right? Because we learn from each other. We put in the time to practice, but then we also learn from others, right? And I think if you're just doing this in a vacuum, it gets a little hard, right? So right now for me, it's still quite inspiring, and I'm quite motivated to continue to draw. I'm getting ready to go to Wisconsin. I'm going to Chicago and Wisconsin, and I have been commissioned to draw a tractor. And that's what I did last night when I got home, and it's super cool. It's like it's a tractor pull. Are you familiar with these things? It's a very Midwest thing where they get these big souped up tractors and then they pull things, like heavy things. And the smoke and the steam from it is outrageous. But, yeah, so there's a big community of tractor pullers where I'm going. And now I have a feeling that every tractor puller guy is going to commission me to draw his hog or whatever they call him, right? It's the Hooterville Express, is what this tractor was called. It's quite fun, though. Anyways, I feel like by following my continuous line, it keeps me in line with my goals and how I want to be living. I want to be living the artist life, and I'm here in a city, in a country that I'm able to do that. Knock on wood, right? You know, things change quickly. And I'm meeting cool artists who are, living their artist life. Sometimes people are still working jobs and it's a part-time thing, or they're trying to build their side hustle, or they're just doing it for the love of doing it, right? Like you can be one of those things or all of the above, right? And I think in a very small way, it is saving the world, right? It's helping people to like be in the world and be at ease in the world. That's what it does for me. And I went for many years trying to not ignore, I just wasn't connected to the artist in me. Like it was like, no, I don't have time for that silly thing. I have real work to do, right? I have to sit at a badly lit desk and stare at Excel spreadsheets and listen to a ridiculous man. That was my corporate life in a nutshell right there. But you know what? I got some amazing skill there. Excel spreadsheets, always a good skill to have. Now I'm a Google spreadsheet gal. You know, you got to put in the time. You got to do the time. You do want to do, right? Gets you to a point in life where you're doing the things you want to do. To choose an artist life is not easy, right? I mean, first of all, people look at you and think you're silly. Not always, but, the pay isn't great. Workshops are a good thing, but, that's a little bit on pause. So I'm just going to continue to build my community online. I'm got Alejandro Anaya lined up for, hi, Elaine. A sport med appointment. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Kristen, that's so true. Is he doing it right? I know, right? It's like everything he said is an opposition, opposing the whole like yogic. I mean, the whole thing was just ridiculous, right? But it honestly gave me a lot of food for thought, right? That's the American mentality, right? You got to be working. You got to be doing something useful. And because drawing is not useful, I'm going to keep on doing my thing though, because it's the life I've chosen, right? It's the life I've chosen. And, lucky for me, I get to also work with the farm, Cañada de la Virgen. I'm getting to learn about what their new projects, things that they're working on to like save the soil, save the cows. I mean, it's a lot, right? Like somebody also said to me last night, oh, you think this one farm is going to save the world? I'm like, no. But it's better than doing nothing, right? Like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Honestly, it's really interesting to go out and be challenged like this, because then I get to get clear on who I am. Like somebody actually made a crack about like, oh, you think this one farm, Cañada, is going to save the world? Well, no, of course not. I mean, honestly, we could all be toast, right? Like we honestly could all be toast. So what are we going to do? Sit around and cry until we really are dead? I'm sorry, I've got things to do before my time is up, right? So, yeah, I do think that this farm is going to save my life and anyone else's life who chooses to participate. It takes a village. It takes a village, right? Little Hillary quote right there. So, I don't know. We're all just trying to find our way through it, right? to get to that finish line with, you know, a little bit of contentment in our soul, a little love in our heart, a little sense of accomplishment, a little sense of, what's that word I'm looking for? That word of, what is it that you're leaving? You're leaving your, not inheritance, your, what is it? Your, it's right there, the word like when you die, are you leaving something good to the world? And I'm totally can't think of the word right now, but I think you know what I'm saying. It's right there. Why can't I think of that word? I don't know. But anyways, now it's going to drive me crazy because it's right there. It like keeps entering my psyche and then it slips away. It's playing tricks with me because I'm doing my lines, and this is like the when all the chaos just dumps out of my head. The chaos just dumps out of my head, and I find sometimes I can't find words. That's all right. Is that getting old, or is it a serious legacy? Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. Legacy. What is your legacy, right? Like, what is your legacy? Just, you know, I actually just got an email about this. My mom was very hardworking. She worked at the post office for a good deal of her life, and she has set up, I forget exactly what it's called, but myself and my brothers every year, you know, in addition to some of the things that she left us, we get $400 a year from her each until we die. And it makes me cry. Because my mom didn't have a lot of money, but she thought about those things. So every time I get it, I'm like, it makes me feel a little bad. It makes me feel good, it makes me feel bad. The legacy. Anyways, I didn't mean to cry about that. It just kind of came over me. But anyway, so here we go. Here's my lines and here's my heart. Finish big with a heart. Go easy on yourself and go easy on others, right? Like I'm going to go easy on Mr. Yoga Man who made fun of me. Because that's just where he's at, right? Like unemployed IT guy living in Mexico. I'm sure he's got some like feelings of like whatever. So it was good food for thought for me, and go easy on myself and go easy on others, right? So I'm still working on my legacy. I'm still working on like figuring out how I'm gonna like live the life that I want and need to live, right? I have big plans for the world. I have big plans for myself, but it's all going to include drawing and encouraging others to draw. Why are my guys falling out? All right, everyone, it's Friday, and I am going to get on home. I'm going to finish my coffee, my beautiful coffee here. I'm going to take a look around, take in my neighborhood here. So, okay, everyone, thank you for chiming in. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the Zoom in the continuous line fundamentals. And I'm going to announce today that Alejandro is going to be joining us for a talk about pens and fountain pens and ink, and showing us his incredible art. So have a good day, everyone. I'll see you all later. Bye. Keep leaning into your lines. Bye.